Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, fillies and genticles, dragons of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Pondering Pony. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my co-host. You're such a flip-flop, Jay. Cool 1 minute and lame the next. When you decide to not be lame anymore, give me a call.
I don't know if I've ever been cool. Don't know if
Are you
anyone's ever
sure?
accused me of that before.
I don't know, we were the cool gang
We
back in the
were?
day.
We
I
were?
mean, we were. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this is a
Okay.
podcast about toy media franchises, 2000s nostalgia, and whatever else we want to talk about. And this week we are talking about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 1, Episodes 5 and 6.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I got the numbers wrong here. So let's get started with Episode 5, which is Griffon the Brush Off.
Yeah, it was released November 12, 2010, directed by Jason Thiessen and James Wooten as co-director, written by
Yep.
Sydney Morrow, who is another Powerpuff Girls alum who had worked with Lauren Faust before on several other projects, including that. Animation by DHX Media and Top Draw Animation, art direction by Rid Sorensen, and music by William Anderson.
Yep. And the plot for this episode goes is that Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash bond over pulling pranks on all their friends. And their time together is interrupted when Gilda, a Griffon Rainbow Dash went to camp with, shows up and starts taking up all of Rainbow Dash's time. And Pinkie observes Gilda being mean to other ponies around Ponyville and decides to throw Gilda a party to improve her attitude. And at the party, Gilda's arrogant attitude leads to her setting off a bunch of pranks, which she blames on Pinkie. And Rainbow is shocked to see her friend act so poorly and reveals that it was actually her who set up the pranks. So Gilda leaves with the quote of this episode. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I honestly was not expecting that twist that Pinkie was not the one who set up the pranks.
No.
No, I
You
was
thought
a
she
little
was
bit
just
surprised by that.
trying to give Gilda like a dose of her own medicine?
Yeah. No, in my notes I said, wow, she's actually surprisingly good at playing innocent. Turns out, no, she
When-
actually was innocent.
Yeah, she was just trying to be like, hey, party, then you'll stop being mean.
Yeah. Which I think goes into the observation I had about Pinkie Pie last episode, maybe, where she doesn't necessarily understand how other people are different from herself. So when she's like, oh, I need to improve someone's attitude, her first thought is, I'll throw them a big party. Because that's what
Yeah.
would improve her attitude.
Yeah, and it kind of seems to improve like the ponies' attitudes of the town.
Yeah.
So yeah, here is I guess you can kind of call the prank episode and the mean best friend episode from the old days. Those two
Yeah.
storylines kind of put together.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot of pranks in here. I honestly I was surprised by how mean some of them were, but I think it is like almost everyone understands that they are being done in good
Mean, mean. I mean, sure, mean to Spike, but no, they could have been meaner.
Yeah.
So
But I do think there is like a but it seems to be that, everyone understands and they know better than to prank Fluttershy, which is what actually finally convinces Pinkie that Gilda is not a nice being. Griffon.
because Gilda like yells at Fluttershy, being very mean, and
Yeah.
also I don't know like why her thinking that Gilda stealing the apple was not set up. She's like, oh, maybe she'll give it back after
Yeah.
she saw her eating it.
Yeah, I was very surprised by the directions this went, because at first I thought the message was going well, I guess at first we see that Pinkie is sort of annoying Rainbow, but then they do actually bond over playing pranks. But then I was thinking, oh, maybe it's going to be that Rainbow can't handle the prank when it's turned back on her. But no, she could handle being pranked as well.
Yeah.
So that it's Gilda who actually serves that purpose when she shows up. And yeah, yeah,
It also kind of seems because like on the rewatch here, going on with our theme where maybe Pinkie Pie is not the most observant, where because it seems like Pinkie was perhaps a little overbearing towards Rainbow at times, like
yes,
constantly chasing her around time, trying to get all this attention. And when Gilda is spending time with Rainbow, Pinkie just doesn't seem to get the hint that she should let her friends like do their own thing, and she always wants to join in, not realizing she's probably, I don't know.
I do think, yeah, I think the difference here is that Rainbow isn't asking Pinkie to leave, that it's actually Gilda who is putting up the barrier
Sure,
and is being genuinely mean about it. Which
but
I think it's very interesting that the lesson at the end of the episode seems to imply the opposite.
it kind of seems like our direction to where the story goes kind of changes because the opening
Yeah.
sting is of course like Rainbow Dash being annoyed by Pinkie to the point she runs into a wall, but that's not going to be the main story of this episode. Here it's like Gilda being
Yeah.
mean and
Yeah.
Pinkie trying to change that and also trying to prove that in some
Yeah.
cases.
When Pinkie goes and talks to Twilight, and Twilight is like, "Well, maybe Gilda isn't that bad, and it's all in your head." I was like, "Oh, Pinkie is going to learn all the wrong lessons from this."
Yeah, I was like, Twilight, what are you doing? She's asking for a source, for it's like, oh, like Gilda yelled at Fluttershy, and Twilight doesn't take that face value. She's like, well, that didn't happen. That was in your
No,
head.
that was later. That's after,
Uh,
because
yeah, but also poor Fluttershy. She gets attacked, and then she just doesn't get a chance to tell Twilight any of this. She's just a silent victim who I guess the comeuppance is that Gilda leaves and Fluttershy has no reason to tell on her, but it's like, oh, this thing happened to her and only Pinkie Pie saw it.
yeah. Which, yeah, I guess since she isn't the focus of the episode, they don't really feel the need to highlight her part in it that much. But yeah, Pinkie Pie, I was surprised with this episode. I think this does a decent job at taking Pinkie Pie to a slightly more a place where the audience can be a little bit more okay with her annoyingness, because for most of the other episodes she has been sort of the biggest, the loudest of the group in a way that is very different from Twilight Sparkle's energy. It's sort of opposed to that. um
So that would be the opening sting being a representation of that,
yeah,
and then this episode's meant to like do a little flip there to change that perspective.
yeah, yeah, with Rainbow actually kind of for the opening part takes on the Twilight Sparkle role of being annoyed by Pinkie Pie, and then it actually takes both of their characters and makes them a little bit easier for the audience to accept. Because you introduce Gilda, who is very stuck up in a way that is, yeah, we are seeing sort of the harm that she is causing, and we're kind of rooting for Pinkie Pie, even though she is overbearing and attention hungry, as you say in the
Hmm.
notes.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Yeah, especially during that one sequence where she's constantly chasing Rainbow around, kind of like a horror villain, where she's just hopping around, but then suddenly is also right behind Rainbow Dash every time she
Yeah,
thinks she's gave her the slip. Which I I think this episode probably did lead to some creepypasta fan fiction interpretation
okay,
because Pinkie Pie was kind of acting like the horror villain catching up.
yeah.
There is one notorious creepypasta which I'm sure you probably heard of called Cupcakes,
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one.
which was written and released pretty shortly after this, like within a month or two. So
Okay. I mean, she is also, if you're going to do a horror My Little Pony story, she is the most sort of subversive of the ponies to choose because she seems the least likely to be that kind of dark character.
then Fluttershy.
Well, but Fluttershy is like, yeah, Fluttershy is more difficult to write that around because she doesn't have that manic energy.
Hmm.
Like Pinkie Pie is the right balance of bubbly and happy, but also like very over the top.
Yeah,
Whereas like, yeah,
she's
Fluttershy, it's like, yeah, I don't
yeah
know where I was going with that, but yeah.
yeah. Also, here we get to see more of how Pinkie Pie can use her powers of the fourth wall to use it for her own gain. Because before we see her like break the fourth wall many times before for like jokes, especially at the end of the first episode. I don't know if you caught any of that.
I'm trying to think back. It's not ringing a bell at the moment.
Anyway, none of that's really important. It's just typical cartoon humor. But
Yeah.
here, we see her technically break the fourth wall where she catches up to Rainbow, which is an impossible task otherwise.
Okay, I didn't think of that as breaking the fourth wall, just more that is the cartoon logic of this
It's the
world.
cartoon logic that belongs to Pinkie Pie,
Okay.
essentially. So she is a character that is the only character that's going to happen to,
Okay.
essentially. It's part of her manic charm is that she can do impossible stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we also have I guess we should get into Rainbow Dash a little bit because yeah, she is taking on a bit more of the Twilight Sparkle role in this one where she is initially annoyed by Pinkie Pie but then sort of comes around and yeah, I like that she isn't mean to Pinkie Pie. And like when she and Gilda are hanging out, like she's not telling Pinkie Pie to leave and
No.
seems to enjoy having Pinkie Pie around, and it's really Gilda who is trying to get her away.
Mhm. And she's probably more impressed that Pinkie Pie is able to keep up somehow with the trampoline, then with the
Yeah.
balloons, and then the toy helicopter thing.
Yeah. Was there ever a toy set of that helicopter thing?
I know there is a helicopter toy. I don't know if it was that specific toy.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and then she
Um,
has this she has set up all these pranks and is at this party and when Gilda starts to go a little haywire and reveal more of her true self, to her credit, Rainbow is very aghast at that
mhm.
and it's like, oh, I don't
Gilda.
recognize this version of you.
Mhm. Gilda's that edgy teenager that just can't handle the lameness of like lighthearted pony stuff.
Yep. Which yeah, usually that would be the role that I would think the audience or like the brony audience would be more on that side of things. But I think because Gilda is this outsider coming in and is mean towards characters who the audience probably has some kind of affinity for, that again, these are all kind of I am still like I have no idea why this show specifically got popular. um I don't know if I'll ever quite crack it. um but yeah, I do think there is something there of like, oh, this is sort of easing the audience into the idea of these characters a little bit
Mhm.
and getting the audience to appreciate them in a way they probably wouldn't have at first go.
She's also yeah. Gilda's also very mean in general. Like
Yep.
she's fine with stealing. She actually has multiple attempts of murder towards Pinky because she lets the helicopter just crash. Which if this were not cartoon logic, that would have been pretty bad.
Yep.
Yep, yep.
Oh. Yeah.
For
Yeah,
some
she's
reason, she just really wants to hang out with Rainbow Dash and no one
which
else.
I think it seems to be that she showed up there for Rainbow Dash and is kind of over the whole pony thing, and so is annoyed that she has to deal with the ponies, but she's willing to put on the front for Rainbow Dash.
Because Rainbow Dash is the quote unquote cool one
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
fast and does all the flying tricks.
Which, yeah, then as she gets pranked more and more, she starts to let her guard down and show her true self a little bit more.
Yeah. Gilda, she's a Griffon.
Yeah. At this point, I think Griffins existing in this show is less or like has thrown me off balance much less than cows existing in this show. Like Griffins, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's a fantasy creature, so that makes sense. But it's cows.
Yeah. And they talk, and they don't
Yep.
act any different than cows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
are there other Griffins who show up later in the show? Or does
I
Gilda show up again?
so that is a question to have.
Okay.
Um I won't fully answer any of that,
Okay.
but it'll probably be a while. It's like maybe some show up in the background. I'll have to
Okay.
keep an eye out for that. But we don't get like prominent. Here's another Griffin character for a bit. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is part of a whole overarching thing, which I'll mention a few weeks from now.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that small little discussion, I guess.
Yep.
One of my favorite quotes from this episode is just when Pinkie Pie is like annoying Fluttershy, and Fluttershy responds with, "I'm a year older than you." It's just funny to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very curious at your notes. You have Twilight and then Source, as if this is like
Yeah,
you're grading a paper and someone has said something and you're wondering where they are sourcing this from. So John, what is your
that
source for Twilight being in this episode?
so I wrote that there mainly because of like Twilight's reaction to Pinkie Pie, where it's like, "Oh, Pinkie Pie, it's just in your head." To me, that's Twilight equivalent to being like, "What's your source on this information, Pinkie Pie? Uh, your personal account means nothing to me."
Which, I mean, yeah, we've seen how Pinky can.
It's like, "What? Gilda tried to kill you a few times? What's your source?" Imagine if the police did that. You know? I mean, they
Yeah.
do, but still. Still, they would more likely look into it first and then be like, "There's no source that we could find." So
Yeah.
here, Twilight just it's like, Pinkie Pie, you're an untrustworthy character at this point. So
Which, I mean, not incorrect there.
yeah, um, this was never my favorite episode of this season,
Okay.
or really in general. It's still early show, and so it's doing like simple concepts that you'll see. But I don't care a lot for pranking
Okay.
episodes. I don't think they're very interesting. Pranking in general, I've never liked. I don't know if you remember our high school senior prank, but I was so furious with our class for what they did. And what they did was more harmful than what we see in this show. But like, boy, I was livid. I
I
don't know if you
honestly don't
remember.
remember. No.
Oh,
The
you
one I
know, just
remember is what go for it.
just breaking the toilets, greasing up the staircases, like doing stuff that causes damage and not cleaning it up, expecting the faculty to clean it up themselves, stuff like that.
Yeah, I honestly did not remember that. The one I did remember because the middle school did not have an ant problem, and then the seniors left a bunch of sugar on the ground in one of the like um, snack stall areas, and then the next year there was
No.
a huge ant problem because no one had checked during the summer.
Oh no.
That was I think the year before you showed up was when they pulled that prank.
But but the year I showed up, people were like talking about ants and be like, "John, here, take some chalk, like
Yes.
put like a thing around your locker so that the
Yes.
ants don't show up." And so I did it. That was just like, oh, I guess this is a common fact. But now I know the reason for that.
No, yeah,
Cool.
the year before there were not ants getting into people's lockers. That was the year I started having to carry my lunch in my backpack. And then I just
Oh,
never stopped.
oh, oh, that would be horrible.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yep.
visuals here, you have some errors pointed out. I'm seeing Rainbow Dash without a cutie mark.
And what else is she missing in this image?
Oh, no wings.
No wings. Yeah, just quick shot here. Okay, here's like two shots that are connected together. It's when Rainbow Dash has like the classic circle prank on her eye from like Spyglass.
Yeah.
Um, what this is like a common error that you'll see with this because for some reason the show and reflections don't always seem to make sense. So
Well,
do you know
maybe
that?
in this world, reflections reflect back the rather than being a true reflection, it is like it's reflecting back because yeah, the mark is on the wrong side of the face here for a reflection.
Even without the reflection, the top image, the mark is on her left side of her face, and then we see the when she's looking down again, her left face is like on screen, nothing's there, um, but it's seen in the reflection itself.
Yes.
So it's yeah. For some reason, reflections in this show never seems to be 100% accurate, but it's a fun little tidbit.
Yeah.
Next bunch of images has something to do with Gilda when she eats the apples. So, what's something that you see here that could be considered an error?
Well, the cart that she is stealing from does not have apples in the first image in the wide shot.
And then it is a close up with a couple of apples. Yeah, there's no apples there. So, yeah, that's this episode's little bits of animation errors. So, yeah, on to performances. Performances. Only new voice cast is from Gilda with Marie Hendricks. I don't know how to pronounce that name.
Yeah, I didn't have any thing to say about her performance here. Like with all of the performances, this is just the characters sound how they should sound.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Celestia was in this. She got pranked more than once
Yeah.
because poor Spike got to send all of his bills to Celestia.
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
is this the first time in a while that we've seen Twilight write a letter to Celestia of like, this is what I learned this episode?
no, she's been writing that.
Okay.
Yeah,
This is
but
when we actually see Celestia react to it though.
yes, this is the first time we see Celestia respond to it. Um, which here people start to point out that sometimes Twilight being the one learning the lesson can be a little jarring because she's not in the episode for most of the time and then she's just there to see what happens and then writes the
Yeah.
lesson. So sometimes fans felt that she was shoehorned in for the first few episodes. I don't really care either way, but that's just an
I
observation
mean
people had.
that's the premise of the show, so I guess they have to do it.
Yeah. Um yeah, for Gilda on sound, like I noticed that they like to have guitar riffs every time she did something,
Yes. Yeah.
which is it's similar to Rainbow Dash, but this one's like more heavier than Rainbow
Yeah.
Dash's. So,
Yep, I
gives you a
did notice
sense.
that little detail, which
Hmm.
was interesting.
Well, on to our illusions via the wiki. So the episode title is a play on the expression "given the brush off," which what does that phrase mean?
I don't know, I haven't ever encountered it.
Let's look up that phrase if you can do that so kindly.
Sure. Yes, I can. I can.
while you do that, I will say the next one. So when Pinkie Pie is chasing Rainbow Dash, she uses the same uh, bounding gait, okay, as Pepe Le Pew uses when chasing his unwilling paramour in Looney Tunes cartoons. The music heard is also in the same style as in the aforementioned chase scenes, which, yeah, classic Unicorn, what? Classic Looney Tunes bit when that happens. Do you have the answer for that?
Yeah, so it's just to sort of rebuff someone, so like to brush them off.
Okay. When Spike hums the My Little Pony theme when he's gathering the scrolls at the town hall. Yeah. And when Gilda crashes into Fluttershy, she quotes the famous line, "I'm walking here for Midnight Cowboy." Yeah.
I have never seen that film. I
Neither
should.
have I. I've
It's the
just heard
first
the
or
quote.
only X-rated Best Picture winner.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't see it.
I don't think it's I I don't think it is that, cuz it's like 1970s X-rated, so it's not. But again, I haven't seen it, so I can't.
If it's 1970s X rated, then it's gotta be really extreme, my dude. 70s
No,
films. Eh.
I don't think it's, from what I have heard, it's not that. I mean, it won Best Picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. We
Anyway,
don't. We
for
That's a different
IMDb
conversation.
trivia, Fluttershy states that she is 1 year older than Pinkie Pie. That's just a random line. Don't try to think too hard about how old these ponies are or what their ages are to each other. It's like too much to keep track of. Friendship report. Twilight learned about the difference between a false friend and one that is true. There are behaviors that can reveal who one's true friends are. I don't know if that's quite accurate to this episode, but kinda. Would you say Gilda is a false friend or just a jerk?
Yeah, probably just a jerk.
Hmm. And yeah, okay, we said that before. And then Derpy appears in this episode. She's here buying, I guess, some corn or potatoes or whatever. Is that a pineapple in that? Okay. Anyway, yeah.
I
Anything
think
else for
that's
this
corn.
episode?
I don't think so. No.
All right. Well, before we move on to the next episode, we wanted to take a moment to tell you about where you can find us. We're Binging Barbie on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Blue Sky and Serialized, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast and Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and go to our Patreon at patreon.com/Binging Barbie Podcast. You'll find my reactions to these episodes there.
So yeah, up next we have episode 6, Boast Busters. This was released November 19, 2010. Directed once again by Jason Thiessen and James Wooten. Written by Chris Savino, who is yet another Powerpuff Girls alum, and would go on to create the series The Loud House.
Have you
So
seen that?
no, I haven't. Is it any good?
I have not seen it.
Okay. Yeah, everything else is the same as last episode in terms of production here.
Yeah. As the story goes, a unicorn named Trixie rolls in the town and puts on a magic show of sorts, boasting about all of her supposed achievements. The big showstopper is when she claims to have defeated an Ursa Major, and Spike is unimpressed by the magic show and tries to get Twilight Sparkle to show up Trixie. But Twilight is worried it will be seen as boastful. Meanwhile, the entire town is also like on the same side of Spike. So Snips and Snails, two unicorn stallions, colts from Ponyville, go into the woods and wake up an Ursa, luring it to town so that Trixie can prove her skills because they're fanboys. Uh, Trixie tries to defeat it begrudgingly, but eventually admits that she made up the story. And then Twilight steps in, defeating the Ursa, and then Trixie just runs out of town, defeated.
Yep.
Which we know what story type this is supposed to be, which is what?
Yeah, sort of the charlatan story, classic trope.
Yeah, like Kenneth Branagh's character from the Harry Potter film.
Oh yeah, Lockhart.
Yeah,
I was
who
thinking of
steals other people's achievements for his own.
yeah.
What were you
I was
thinking?
I was thinking of Sweeney Todd with Adolfo Pridelli. Or,
I don't remember that much for that, but sure, yes, yeah. I mean, classic cartoon or just story type of charlatan. Although this one, the way the story is presented in this episode does lead to just some interesting ideas. So yeah, more or less the episode is about Trixie, or Trixie is the supposed antagonist. But the question that we have is Trixie the antagonist or the victim?
I mean, I mean, she shows up and is like she is being deceitful.
I mean, yes, that is the intention of this episode. It's just Trixie showing up and saying she's the best. But here, another thing is Trixie. She's on a stage. She's clearly a stage performer. So all of this boasting is all part of her stage act. But why does everybody treat her as if she is the worst thing in the world when she's clearly putting on a performance? Like the entire town, our main six are so surprisingly antagonistic um towards Trixie. Where I get what the theme of the episode is, but the way it's presented, Trixie's just a stage performer. She's not going to say, "Behold me, the pony who can do like a couple little tricks, who hasn't done anything amazing." No, she's the stage performer, the great and powerful Trixie. She has to sell that image. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I didn't necessarily interpret it that way. I think she isn't, because she lies about the Ursa Major thing,
yeah,
and the thing is, like, I mean, it's hard to do or to evaluate, like, what does a magic show look like in a world where people could do actual magic and it's just like a commonplace thing. So yeah, I don't know what her game is besides just it seems less like a stage magician where the understanding is this is a performance, and more
yeah,
like I don't know, a veteran or someone who isn't a veteran going around and pretending to be this great veteran who
sure.
did all of these impressive things.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's been a rising point of topic when people look back on the episode and be like, "Wait a
Okay.
minute." It's like, what, Trixie? She isn't doing anything really all that wrong here. She's just being a stage performer.
I mean,
It's been
yeah.
the rising like trend to look back and be like, hold on, that doesn't make sense. But yeah, the intention is there. It's not hidden. It's just it could be presented in a much better way where there's little doubt. Because again, Trixie's persona is that she's a performer.
Yeah. I was assuming that they were going to go the route of, oh, she doesn't even do like actual magic, it's all stage tricks. Rather than her actually being able to do actual magic, it's just not as powerful as she claims it to be.
Which I'm pretty sure she just does stage tricks, as well as just small magic stuff. But it's not
Yeah.
like Twilight, who does these magic experimentations, like mustaches and random door.
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, again, the question that I have, and I guess this is just like this is a kid's cartoon, so the world isn't this well developed, but like, why is this a thing people would show up for? Because she isn't even doing anything all that impressive, at least from what I can tell within the world that they have set up. I guess there's a lot of like big explosions, but
and
it's,
she does fireworks displays. It
yeah,
seems, yeah.
it's like
No, that's
someone
very
solving, going around traveling like I'm the greatest Rubik's cube solver in the world, and it's like they do it in like 5 minutes, which is not a fast time to be solving a Rubik's cube in, and it's like something
sure.
that pretty much anyone could do with a bit of practice. Like, what is
Yeah,
her game here?
No wonder she has to antagonize everyone because like none of her stuff is all that impressive,
Yeah.
really.
Is she like the equivalent of like an insult comedian?
I think that's just her personality.
Because
um,
either way, it's like, oh, I don't feel too bad for her. Whether her performance style is I'm going to pretend I'm the best even though I'm not, or I'm going to intentionally antagonize people and then show them up. Like, yeah,
yeah,
that's neither of those are speak well to her character.
no. What do you think about Trixie?
She has the same name as Trixie Mattel.
Okay, because I find that there's three types of people who respond to Trixie. One,
Okay.
they find her extremely annoying. Two, they absolutely adore her. Or three, they don't care for her, but over the years they started to grow on her.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Does
was
she
the
show
third
up again?
option. I there's an interesting thing about that. I will respond to
Okay.
that later.
Okay. Um because yeah, I could see how this is a character who could get more interesting later on. In this episode, I'm just like, I don't. This is a stock character.
Yeah, but for some reason, which was really perplexing, is the people who immediately loved her just from this one episode,
Okay.
uh, including the founder of the Equestria Daily news website,
Oh.
which uh, is I guess fans used to joke, it's like that website's just Trixie propaganda. uh, but
You know, I wonder if part of it is just the visual design.
she has a really cool design. Like she has one of the more unique ones. She comes with like a hat and a cape.
Yeah.
Like that's really cool. We don't see anyone else have similar designs like that. So
Yeah. I could see that being because there's nothing in this episode that makes me think she is a particularly interesting or noteworthy character.
I guess they also really like her sassy attitude of sorts.
Okay.
It's I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not my favorite episode for Trixie.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking of obviously Trixie Mattel, the drag queen, as I was watching this, and was just like, okay, yeah, whatever. The, she does not spark anything the way that Trixie Mattel does.
The thing I feel bad for Trixie is that her cart gets smashed and then she has to run away without her cart or home essentially. Um
Yeah, I think that was a bit of comeuppance. Also, she should be in a different line
for
of work.
for what? Boasting? It's like, you boasted. Your house gets
I mean,
destroyed.
someone called her bluff, and
Yeah.
that was the reason that yeah. So someone called her bluff of, "Hey, I defeated an Ursa Major." They're like, "Okay, well, here's an Ursa Major. Go for it."
Are you sure it's someone called her bluff or just two like fanboys being like, I
Well,
want to
yeah.
see epicness. Let's
Her
ruin the
bluff was
town.
called. Her bluff was called.
I wouldn't say the bluff was called because I don't think they were calling her bluff. They just was like,
Yeah.
it's like the story about George Reeves, who played Superman in the TV show, showing up to a birthday party, and one of the kids like bring a gun so that they could prove that he was Superman.
Except
That was a
there with Trixie, there's like again, there isn't a sense that she is intentionally putting on a performance as a character who is different than who she is. At least
Mhm.
not in this episode.
I mean, no, her performance is pretty much her character, um, but still, in her defense, and it's not a really strong defense, it's like, well, in her defense, again, she's putting on a stage show, so she could say whatever she wants. The main six, they like do battle against Trixie. Um, again, showing off themselves, like, I can do this cool thing with a rope, or I can break the laws of physics with rainbows, and Rarity can make a dress out of purple.
Yep. It's difficult to do that kind of thing and make it impressive for the audience, I think. Especially because this whole time we're like aware that Twilight is going to be showing up whatever happens by the end of the episode.
I think if Trixie just showed up in town without any like the magic stage, she just showed up and be like, "I'm the best. You suck. I'm more powerful than you." Then then I think the message is there's little doubt in the message. The message is very clear, but the execution, because you could argue again, she's a stage performer, so are they just beating up a stage performer?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think this is a slightly different case than a stage performer here. Because
Sure.
she is not establishing that division between herself on stage and herself in. And I guess, yeah, part of it is just that we haven't seen this kind of performance within the show before, so we don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Twilight, she's magic shy around the others.
Yeah, she sees how everyone is reacting, and that leads her to feel that she will be seen as boastful for using her magic. Which, yeah, I don't entirely understand why for her it's different, other than her friends already know her, so they know that she's not being boastful by using her magic.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Snips and Snails, the two younger boy ponies, they're Canadian. That's what I wrote down here, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're the classic sort of two not too smart characters who show up in this kind of thing.
Yeah, the typical boy character you'd see in a girl-centered cartoon is like, boys, they're not great, they're dumb, and
I mean,
their
I
names
mean,
being Snips and Snails from that rhyme.
yes, yeah.
Yep.
Which is like, isn't that in the Powerpuff Girls opening as well? That they use the other part of that.
Yeah, for the girls stuff. It's like sugar, spice, and everything nice.
Yep.
Spice. Oh, I never realized that till now.
little connection point there.
Yeah. No wonder why there's okay. Anyway, visuals. Here we got to see an Ursa Minor. I thought that they're pretty cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting design, sort of drawing connection to the Ursa Major constellation. Um,
Yeah.
with the visual design. Yeah,
And
I
it's
like.
also revealed that we have an Ursa Major, which is humongous and big and
Yep.
just right outside the town.
Yep. Yeah, I'm surprised that isn't a thing they have to worry about, but I guess, I mean, it's cartoon logic, so.
Yeah. I'm I'm a little sad and disappointed because we don't see them again. This is really their
Okay.
only prominent appearance. And it's like, they're so cool. Why don't we have more stories with those things? Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I like bears, so it was nice to see them, and yeah, it's sad that we aren't going to get more of that.
Yeah. It is real sad. But there's fan fiction that you can read where people write with the bears as such. I'm sure you'll find something somewhere.
Oh boy.
I see you wrote down magic show effects.
Yeah, so this is something, the when Trixie is showing off how she defeated the Ursa Major, supposedly, the effects they're doing are, I don't know if there's an official word for it, but they're sort of these like neon light up effects where you're seeing very limited movement. Um
Yeah,
yeah, there's a place near me that does, every Christmas, does like little holiday scenes with that style. So I was like, oh, that's kind of neat.
yeah. On to errors, which I mean, errors is like a word, I guess.
Is it?
Sure, yeah. It's mostly to do with like background ponies and like how they try to do assets. So this first one here, you're probably not gonna get it, but The green pony next to Twilight, her name is called Lyra Heartstrings, and she is typically a unicorn. However, in this shot, what is that? What's there?
No horn.
No horn. Which is probably just the animators just removing the horn for her to be a background character, which is not that important, but
Hmm.
something that's noticeable. And then again, the other image I have is just another example of what's missing in this group here.
Cutie marks again.
Yeah, good job. Yeah, nothing really big in this one, just a couple little tidbits there.
Yeah.
Performances. Snips and Snails. Snails is by Richard Ian Cox. Snips is voiced by Lee Tokar, who is also Makuta.
Yes. Yeah. I recognized his name here.
Hmm.
He's in some of the Barbie ones as well, isn't he?
Isn't he Bibble?
I think so. That sounds
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
And speaking of Bibble, we have Kathleen Barr, aka Laverna from Fairytopia, as Trixie here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Love Kathleen. Just great. She does a great job every time she shows up.
Yeah.
Um, and she, from my watch through of previous generations, was in G3, so that's fun.
Okay.
Yep. I think she's the only big name from the show I've not met because she doesn't do conventions at all. So
Mm.
it's sad. She's great. She's fun, but man, sound. I don't know. Do you have anything on sound here?
No, I didn't really notice
Yeah.
anything notable.
Okay. On to illusions via the wiki. So the title of the episode is a play on the title of the Ghostbusters franchise. Did you catch that?
Is it? Oh yeah, I guess Boast.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, yeah.
Ghostbusters, yeah. There's a lot of silly names like that. um, okay. The Great and Powerful Trixie shares her title with the Great and Powerful Oz from Wizard of Oz, who also turns out to be far less powerful than initially portrayed. Mm.
Okay.
Trixie's challenge to the audience echoes the phrase, "Anything you can do, I can do better," which originated with a song of the same name from the Broadway musical Annie Get Your Gun. As you mentioned, the Ursa Bears are named after the constellations Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. Snips and Snails exchange, in which Snips asks, "You thinking what I'm thinking?" And Snails replies, "Why is it they call it a flea market when they don't really sell fleas?" is an homage to Pinky and the Brain, which is a
Okay.
running gag in each episode. Yep, that makes sense. Trixie's lullaby to the Ursa Minor is created when she casts a spell to call up the wind, and she uses the wind initially to snap the stalks of the cattails growing in the nearby pond, and then they play a soothing melody by having it blow across the broken reeds. This echoes something from an old Disney cartoon. Okay, but that's a long piece of trivia there.
Yeah.
Is that correct? I don't know, but somebody thought so.
Apparently, yeah. I have
Okay.
not seen the old mill, so
Okay.
I cannot say.
On to IMDb trivia. The great and powerful Trixie refers to herself as such or is called so by other characters a total of 20 times during the episode. I don't know if that's correct. That seems like too many.
I mean, they do say it a lot, so I guess maybe.
Okay. Maybe. Maybe I should have kept count. This is the first episode where one or a few of the main characters doesn't have a single line of dialogue. Here it's Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy, who only appear sporadically in the crowd. Um, and apparently, Andrea Limrin had recorded lines for this episode for those two, but they were cut for time.
Okay.
Yeah, so the original script for this, which is also seen, I think, in the show Bible, called for a boastful male unicorn, which would have been Trixie, but that was later reimagined as a female for this show because I don't think they wanted like them to do like infighting between the two, like boys and girls, like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were asking if like Trixie, like shows up again. Well, a tidbit about that is that Trixie was originally going to be a much more reoccurring character after the show, where she was supposed to be like Twilight's rival and would show up like a lot to be like, Twilight, let me duel against you. But they eventually scrapped this idea, which is one of the many ideas that was scrapped. So, yeah, Trixie was
Okay.
supposed to show up a whole lot more, be a much more recurring cast member, but nope, she it, it's yep. We don't see her again for this season, at least.
Okay.
And lastly, Derpy appears in the background. Here we can see her flying in this crowd shot. What do you think of this episode?
It's fine. I don't really have any insights on this. I was trying to come up with sort of a cultural anthropology corner for this episode, but I really just could not figure out any angle for that right now. Um, yeah, I'm a little bit confounded the further we get into this. Where after the first two episodes, I thought I had a handle on why this became as popular as it was. There, I'm like, I'm not seeing it yet. Maybe I'll see it the further we get in.
Mm-hmm. I think an answer I could give is that a lot more people were more into the fandom and the fandom made works than they are the show itself,
Okay.
potentially. Because that's what got me into the show was my fascination with like the fandom and the fandom
Yeah.
works. And for a while, the fandom stuff is what I respected more than the show itself. But anyway, that's just a
As you were
theory.
watching this through the first time, like when you got to these episodes, were you what did it become a chore to watch more? Or were you invested enough at that point that you were enjoying all
I
of the
mean,
episodes?
so when I was watching through this the first time, first up, like I was trying to keep it a secret because it's like, I don't
Yeah.
want my parents to know I'm watching My Little Pony, so I had to like schedule it out to the point where once a week, once every other week, sometimes my parents, uh, our teachers used to have like a game night. At
Yeah.
least some of them would host a game night, and so when my parents would go there, I had like a 2 hour span where I could watch 4 to 6 episodes at a time, and
Yeah.
so this I think was part of that bunch. But I remember at the time these were not my favorite episodes. There are other episodes I prefer, but
Yeah.
they're all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious because, yeah, the further we get into this, the less I am understanding the appeal of this show to a crowd that is not already invested in this kind of show. But I mean, I wouldn't be
I
surprised if
don't
the further
know
we
if
get
you're
on
ever going to find an answer for that. Um,
that may be the
it's
case.
just maybe it will click with you one day, maybe it won't.
Well, yeah, people will have to stay tuned to see what happens in that regard.
Yeah, please stay tuned. But with that, thank you everyone for listening, and make sure to follow us on your podcast platform of choice and on social media platforms. But we will be back next week, and we'll take a journey back to the 1980s to our first experience with Generation 1. So if you're here for G4, wait a couple weeks. So yeah. All right.
Bye,
Bye.
ponies.
Bye, ponies.